Sometimes the best way to understand the future is to take a really good look at the past. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are diving into just one single document from decades ago to uncover an absolutely remarkable story about building a community from the ground up.
So here it is. This is the cover of a newsletter from the youth wing of the Tamils Representative Council in Singapore. The date? January 1985. But this is so much more than just old paper. Think of it like a time capsule. It's a window into the hopes, the challenges, and the incredible organization of a community that was actively, and I mean actively, shaping its own future. So the real question is, what can it teach us today?
Every great community project, every movement, it has to start with a clear purpose, right? A mission, and we find it right here on the second page in the chairman's message.
Just listen to the power in these words: nurture, improve, protect. This isn't just a passive statement, it is an urgent call to action. The goal wasn't just to get by, it was to build a community so strong in its culture, its language, and its character that it could face whatever was coming next with total confidence. This one quote right here, it sets the stage for everything else they did.
Okay, so you have this powerful mission. What are your first steps? Well, they focused on two of the most essential tools for empowerment you can imagine: education and technology. This was all about giving their people a real, practical edge.
And look, this wasn't some vague promise of just better education. The Home Tuition Project of '85 was incredibly specific. It targeted a particular group of students and set a really clear, measurable goal: help at least 50% of them. And by moving the classes into people's homes, they made learning feel more accessible, more community-focused.
Their thinking on this was just so forward-looking. You have to remember, in 1985, a Tamil typewriter or a slide projector, that was pretty high-tech stuff for a lot of people. The technology transfer program was all about putting these tools directly into the hands of the youth, giving them access to equipment they probably couldn't afford on their own. It was about leveling the playing field.
And they were not thinking small. Not at all. Their educational aid program had this staggering ambition for a community group to reach 3,000 children, all the way from primary 3 to secondary 4. That is a massive undertaking, and it just shows you how serious they were about investing in that next generation.
But they knew that a community can't survive on academics and technology alone. It needs a soul, a heart. So, at the same time, they launched this whole series of initiatives designed to forge a strong cultural identity and, just as importantly, to bring people together.
And they did it by creating these shared experiences. Just look at this. On one side, you have an article about a picnic that went ahead even though it was raining, because being together was the whole point. And on the other, you've got a call for a competitive 7-a-side soccer tournament. These kinds of events, from the super relaxed to the super competitive, that's exactly how you weave the fabric of a community together.
And their cultural programming was just as organized as their educational stuff. This wasn't just random. They had storytelling sessions for kids, song recitals, cultural classes, even talks on religious movements. Every single program was a deliberate piece of the puzzle, designed to keep their heritage alive and vibrant.
All right, now this next part it's just fascinating because it reveals the sign of a truly healthy community. The ability to have an open, honest, and even a critical public conversation about how to get better.
It all kicks off with this quote from the Readers' Forum. A member's writing in about a recent seminar, and he starts by saying he went in with high expectations. He was looking for something more than just another standard event. So right away, he's about to offer some constructive criticism.
And what happens next is just this amazing point-by-point public debate. On the left, you see the reader's critiques. He actually calls them brickbats, and they're specific. The food service, presenters reading from scripts, speakers going over time. But then, on the right, in the very same newsletter, the seminar coordinator responds to every single point. This isn't an argument. It's a dialogue. It's totally transparent, it's respectful, and it's all focused on one thing: improving.
But here's the kicker, the most important part. After laying out all of his critiques, the original writer's final verdict is that the event was, and I quote, an overwhelming success. This just proves that all that feedback was coming from a place of support. The goal was never to tear it down, but to help build it up.
So when you piece all of this together, the mission, the programs, this open debate, you start to see that this wasn't just a collection of random activities. No way. This was a highly organized, year-long blueprint for action.
I mean, just look at their diary of events for 1985. It is relentless. You've got a leadership meeting in January, a song recital in February, the soccer tournament in March, a cultural show in April. It just goes on and on, all the way to the next big seminar in December. This is what it looks like when a vision gets turned into a concrete, actionable schedule.
And of course, a pace like that is only possible because there was a solid structure behind it all. There were designated leaders, committees, clear roles for everyone. This wasn't a casual club, it was a professional operation, and it was driven by some incredibly dedicated volunteers.
So, what does it all add up to? We started with what looked like a pretty simple newsletter, but as we've seen, it's so much more. It is literally a blueprint for how to build a community, one that was highly organized, incredibly ambitious for its people, and self-aware enough to constantly learn and get better.
And that leaves us with one final thought. We uncovered this whole really inspiring story from a single document from 1985. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What blueprint for building a better community, for facing the future with confidence, is hidden somewhere in your own history, just waiting to be rediscovered?